Hello, and welcome back to Renee the Curious. Today, I'm curious to measure the security, search engine friendliness, accessibility, and a bunch of other things for 4 projects that I've developed in the past 2 years, and 3 of which actually in the last 6 months. What are the projects? Ones that you may have seen on my channel in the past. Alberta Well Finder, which is a way to look up, search, and see what's going on with well sites, facilities, and pipelines in Alberta. Canada Well Finder, which gives you insight into virtually all of the well sites across Canada, including volume production data, the financial health of the company, and lately I've thrown in a little bit of AI analysis, so examining the data with respect to current markets and other things. 3, LSD Finder. So this is not what you might think of. This is legal subdivision of land. So looking up land locations in anywhere in Western Canada and being able to find directions and so on and so forth. And then finally, RidePost, which is a car sharing or ride sharing, carpooling application that's launching soon in Victoria, BC. Beautiful Victoria. So what am I trying to do? Well, when we develop applications, web applications, or even websites, we can spend a lot of time internally inside our tools and environment, writing unit tests, full end-to-end, playwright usability tests, and we do our very best, and then we launch it out onto the web. And this web application now has a surface area that's rather different from what we see as developers on the inside when we're developing them. And there are many, many things that need to be gotten just right in order for the application to be safe, secure, performant, and accessible to all kinds of people, people with low vision, poor vision. And so measuring all of these things isn't easy. And I discovered through a friend and colleague of mine, an application he developed recently called SEO Scanner. And you can go to overunity.ca or seo.overunity.ca to see it. I'm going to show you what it did for me. And it kind of blows my mind how good this thing is. And it's not a paid sponsorship. I just found it super useful. And in terms of adventures in AI, one of the things that really blew my mind is he's using AI inside the application to provide a level of quality and insight that heretofore I've never seen, I've never witnessed. I'm using it now for all of my projects. Started using it just yesterday. And I'll show you how it works. It's pretty simple, and you might find it useful too if you're developing web software. So to start with, we can start a scan. And what we have to do is enter in our website. So I'm going to enter in the guy that you see on your right, Alberta Well Finder. And I'm going to do the ultimate report, SEO and security. So there are a lot of moving pieces, headers, cookie, CSP, vulnerabilities, accessibility. And so we're going to start the ultimate scan, and this will take a little bit. But before I start the scan, I want to show you what this did yesterday. So I ran the scan against these 4 properties, and I own them. Word of caution, this is not a tool that's designed for testing other people's properties, but really just testing our own so we can make our sites secure, safe, and all of the other things. And so I did it yesterday, and I got, some good and some middling and not so good scores for Alberta Well Finder. So my overall SEO score was 83. My performance was 46, which kind of surprised me in a way, but turns out there are reasons for it. And then it gives me a bunch of other analysis that we'll dig into in a second. What about the other sites? What about Canada Well Finder? Well, it did quite a bit better, and there are reasons for it too, but not perfect. Performance could be a little better. And again, this was yesterday. I've since done some work to shore up some of the failings Here, LSD Finder. So SEO 88, performance 81, and then finally, RidePost. So 94 for SEO and 82. And what's interesting about this too is as the projects get newer, and I'm trying to learn and become a better developer, a lot of these scores naturally improve with experience. So Alberta Well Finder is the oldest one, or old, it's a year old, but it needed the most help. And so I ran these scores and I did a bunch of work. I ran 4 instances of Claude Code today and basically pasted in what SEO Scanner gave me and just let Claude crunch through all of the issues and use up all my tokens by 2 o'clock, which is okay. It's worth it, and make things better. But let's compare. Let's dare to compare, in one case, what Alberta Well Finder was then, and after I made my changes and the improvements, what we can expect from it now. So we'll click Start Ultimate Scan. And so it will go out and search and scan. And, it's, in a sense, it's scanning everything that can be seen and intuited with regard to DNS, the way SvelteKit is configured, the way accessibility is handled. So it's going to go through and look at all of the pages, all of the links, and apply a variety of things, including Lighthouse scores, and then give me a result. And while it's doing that, let's also start Canada Well Finder, scan, and LSD Finder. What's interesting too about this site from a economic standpoint, I think of a scan is a couple dollars, a few dollars. I think the ultimate scan is maybe more, but there's no subscription. There's no month-to-month billing, which as a developer of SaaS products myself, I find kind of refreshing. So if you have a big site and you want to scan it using this tool, you pay a few dollars, you get your scan, and you can use it for actually several hours to make some changes and then rescan. And it's all private. It's not shared with anybody. The developer tells me, and I trust him. Let's see now what we can find. I may pause the video or cut the video. This takes a little longer. Okay. Well, let's look at Canada Well Finder, because it finished first. Oh, so did LSD Finder. Here, let's see if we can start RidePost.app. Okay, cool. All right, so Canada Well Finder, pretty good. Let's look at what we got yesterday. So, yeah, better across the board for SEO. So pretty good, 99 out of 100 overall. Performance went up to, accessibility is better, best practices. So that's great. If we scroll down to performance, desktop performance. So we also got a significant bump, 55 to 61. Let me show you what these things mean though. So for example, when we scroll down here, we can, see all of the pages that it traversed. It's telling us, what is unused in the site. So if we removed unused JavaScript or CSS, that would improve performance a little bit. All of these are little wins, but added together, taken together, they can be big wins. And so here we have our crawl summary, and we have these buttons called AI Fix. Now, what does this do? Well, if we click it, and let's actually go down to, let's start with that SEO. So AI Fix, what it's doing here is using a model to analyze its results of the scan with respect to SEO, and then it creates a prompt that I can copy and paste into a Claude Code session or Cursor or whatever else you're using, Codex. Claude is the best. Opus 4.6 is amazing. Everyone seems to agree. And then let it work. And so let's do that. Once we get our AI plan for SEO for Canada Well Finder, I'll switch to my terminal. And here it is. So I've improved quite a bit previously, but there's still apparently room for improvement. So here is the prompt. And so I can copy this plan. And one thing I'm not sure of is if it's necessary to go into plan mode first. I usually do in Claude Code, always start with planning, even if you think, or I think it's going to be great, whatever my prompt is. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's necessary, but let's just try it anyway. So we'll go to plan and I paste in the text and we'll expand this a little bit. So I'm running the project. I'm running the project here, but now we're going to use SEO Scanner to scan Canada Well Finder. And while I do that, I could do the same for RidePost, which is actually, it's pretty good already. The SEO is excellent. Partly I ran this already, so we made some of those improvements. But let's look at performance again. We'll generate a performance plan, and we'll go back to Alberta Well Finder. And yeah, so it's noticeably better in all of the scores as well. But let's go back to RidePost. And now it's asking me, and we'll just move this over. Okay, so here's my plan performance for RidePost. So switch to plan mode, paste, and let her go. And as you know, Claude Code 4.6 Opus it's extraordinarily good at keeping track of long context windows. So this is the kind of work that it really excels at, where it's reading basically the entire project with a prompt, understanding all of the issues, both in the prompt and that it discovers in the code base, and then offering a plan to resolve some of these issues and just make the sites faster, safer, secure, and more accessible. And while it's working, let's just look at some of the other things that it found for Canada Well Finder. Close here. So SEO, so, title tags too long. And it's also kind of cool as you can click on this and, understand a little bit better. So it's not just a tool, but it's a little bit like a teacher. So if you want to learn web analytics, SEO performance, it's educational, visible, add visible content. One of the things I've noticed with many of my sites is that, 2 out of 4 of these ones, is that the contrast with text is sometimes too low, trying to make it look nice, which can be a problem for people with low vision. Yeah, and then, so these are all categorized, and it says I can rescan for 3 hours. And let's see, so it's asking me for permission. So what's cool about this too is, on the outside with SEO Scanner, it's scanning and then using some AI to analyze the results of the scan, and then bringing that prompt into Claude Code. We're now looking at, inside the project, knowing what was observed outside, and then making the necessary changes. So we're using AI externally, and then internally with Claude Code Opus 4.6, we're using AI to make those meaningful changes to the code base. So I'll let it run for now. And as you can see, it's working in all 4 sites. Significant improvement, especially performance with 2 of them. And in fact, maybe I can show you. I'll show you what specifically, if you're a technical person, what sort of blew my mind this morning. So in let's see, let's go to Alberta Well Finder. I have a list of customers, companies that are using Alberta Well Finder, and there are hundreds. I think how many? And this is a few months old. 647. So lots of organizations. That's the animation that plays when you load the page, and it's sort of randomized. But I was getting a dreadful Lighthouse score for performance when deploying this. And actually, this is not the issue. Let me see. And when I was running, yeah, here we go. This is the one I wanted to show you. When I was running, Claude Code with this performance prompt, it explained this great insight. It's like why company marquee is the critical fix. The component renders 622 companies times 4 DOM nodes with 2 to 3 duplicates. So it's 7,000 nodes. This is classic invisible performance killer. It looks like a small visual element, which it is. But it dominates the DOM. And now, even though I'm using what is arguably the most performant full stack web development framework, SvelteKit, still, when the browser has thousands of DOM nodes, this will impact performance, both initial rendering paint and then as you move across the application. And one of the things as developers that we are sometimes guilty of is we work on rather nice laptops with lots of cores, lots of RAM. And so we don't actually experience the slowdown that many of our users do, or clients. And so this was a very interesting find that I honestly I never would have discovered or realized that this is what's causing suboptimal performance. And not only that, so I learned something, but then it's like, yeah, what do you want to do? Let's just cut down the number of companies to a random 50, seamless CSS loop, shuffle. Now, when Claude went through this, it got rid of the bulk, but there were actually a couple bugs. So I had to say, no, it's not, now it's not moving. It went back. Oh, I know why. And then it fixed it. And so really, really amazing experience. Overunity Scanner. Again, they're not a sponsor, but I'm going to use them for my projects going forward. The project is only, I think it's a week old, and it's improved several times in several days. So check it out if you have time, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for your time. And as usual, have a great day.